Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. In today's video, I will be comparing the performance of two graphic cards in a few popular sim racing titles. My setup runs on a 1440p ultrawide monitor that's a total resolution of 3440 by 1440 pixels to render each frame. Until recently, I was using the RTX 3050, but I have upgraded to the new RTX 5070. So I decided to benchmark both cards across some of my favorite simulation games: Assetto Corsa Competizione, Assetto Corsa, LeMansUltimate, and the new early access build of Assetto Corsa EVO. If you are into sim racing and thinking about a GPU upgrade, hopefully this comparison will help you make the right decision. Before diving into the benchmarks, let's take a quick look at the hardware. Starting with the MSI GeForce RTX 3050 Overclock Edition, this one comes with an 8GB of VRAM and around 2500 CUDA cores. The new RTX 5070 non-TI version I'm testing has around 12GB of VRAM, roughly 6100 CUDA cores and a boost clock of 2500 MHz. On the system side, I'm running an AMD Ryzen 5 7600 paired with 32GB of DDR5 RAM. All tests were done on identical tracks with around 20 AI cars to keep the comparisons fair and consistent. Let's start with Assetto Corsa Competizione, one of my most played sim titles. With the RTX 3050, I usually run most settings on high, but I keep shadows, effects and foliage at medium. DLSS is set to balanced mode to maintain a stable 60 FPS. The game runs fairly well since it's well optimized on Unreal Engine, though I do notice slightly blurry textures when DLSS is enabled. Switching to the RTX 5070, I pushed everything to Ultra and turned DLSS off, using temporal anti-aliasing instead. Now, even with all settings maxed out, I'm getting well over 100 FPS and the frame times are noticeably lower, which makes the driving experience a lot smoother. Here's a side-by-side comparison. The biggest improvement with the 5070 isn't just higher FPS, but the consistency in frame time, which really enhances the feel of the sim. Moving to the original Assetto Corsa, which is relatively lightweight compared to newer sims. On the RTX 3050 with settings at high and DLSS set to quality, I get a steady 60 FPS on average and around 12 milliseconds frame time. On the RTX 5070, I maxed out all graphical settings and disabled DLSS. The result, a constant 100 FPS with 10 milliseconds of frame time. Interestingly, the FPS caps at 100 even though VSync is off, probably syncing to my monitor's 100Hz refresh rate. Here's the side-by-side footage. For this particular title, I did say the upgrade doesn't bring massive gains. The RTX 3050 already handles Assetto Corsa quite well at 1440p ultrawide. Next up is LeMansUltimate, my current favorite for endurance racing. It's an immersive title and quite demanding. With the RTX 3050, I run it on medium settings, keeping post-processing low but player detail on high. That gives me a stable 60 FPS. On the RTX 5070, the jump in performance is immediately noticeable. With ultra settings across the board, I'm getting around 90 FPS and around 10 milliseconds of frame time. The gameplay feels very fluid, similar to ACC. Here's the comparison. You can clearly see smoother motion and higher consistency with the newer GPU. Lastly, I tested Assetto Corsa EVO, which is still under early access. The version I'm testing is 0.3. This game is extremely VRAM heavy, making it perfect to push these GPUs. On the RTX 3050, performance drops to around 30 to 40 FPS, even with most settings at low or medium. I also noticed frequent stutters, likely due to VRAM limitations. On the RTX 5070, with every settings maxed out, The sim runs around 60 FPS with no stutters, and the frame time hover around 15 to 16 milliseconds. Since the game is still under development, it's too early to draw final conclusions, but it's clear the extra VRAM and power of 5070 gives it a big advantage for 1440 ultrawide gaming. So overall, the RTX 5070 brings a noticeable upgrade, especially in newer and more demanding sim titles like ACC and LeMansUltimate. You get smoother frame pacing, higher FPS and more stable performance at 1440p ultrawide. Though for older or lighter titles, the gains are smaller. If you're running a similar setup and considering an upgrade, the 5070 gives you more headroom for future sims and heavier graphical loads. Thanks for watching. If you found this video useful, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more sim racing and hardware content.